Hey everyone, Hammeh here. A quick bit of news update. Overwatch have tweeted a picture and it seems as though the support sniper is confirmed and probably on the way to us. What we've got is a cool pic that's just dropped on the Overwatch Twitter, the link's in the description below, that not only gives us a few little lore bites, but also gives us quite an interesting insight into the history behind the rifle that seemingly this support sniper will wield. So, first things first, let's get the support sniper rumours piece out of the way. So where did support sniper come from before we address the image? Well, very quickly as a roundup, so there are only 4 supports in Overwatch, and it looks as though that area could do with another hero or two if you just look at the numbers of the various different classes. People then got the idea of support sniper from having a look at this mysterious hero in the Temple of Anubis in this file. You can see this particular emblem that they have on the front of their mask. Fast forwarded to a GameSpot 3-part interview series, and an eagle-eyed Redditor, amongst some other people a few months back, spotted that this reticle that this designer was working on in the background kind of matched the one that we saw on the hero character in Temple of Anubis. So there we go, that's the link to support. The reticle looks like a sniper targeting system. Supports could do with another hero potentially if you look at the balancing numbers, and here is a hero with a matching emblem. So fast forward to the image that we're having a look at. Now this is very interesting. I'll call out 3 or 4 things that I think are pretty cool, both in terms of lore and in terms of what we might see. So firstly, if we have a look in the top left, we can see that it's 2 J Morrison and G Reyes. We are working within Overwatch before Overwatch fell 6 years or so ago in the timeline as far as we know it, and Morrison and Reyes are of course now Soldier 76 and Reaper. But this is when the two were still working together and when Overwatch was still well and good. Subject is prototype biotic rifle. So there we go. That is probably a rifle firing biotics, as we can see some kind of healing system, which we'll go into in the copy below. Now we have a bit interesting piece of communication between Torbjorn and Angela Ziegler. So we have Torbs here, and we also have Mercy talking about the development of this weapon. Now we can see Merdy's Caduceus staff that she uses to heal, and Torbjorn saying, as discussed, this is the proposed rifle that could be equipped by medics in the field. Despite what my esteemed colleague will surely suggest, the application of her biotic technology is only underlined very heavily, intended to be used for healing. So interesting piece of work from Torb there. 3 things. 1, equipped by medics in the field. Again, that's very much firmly pointing to this sort of support sniper rumour. We've also got the little medic symbol in the top right, which again, all seems to point to that. Interestingly, for Torb and lore purposes, we know that Torb at the moment is currently travelling the world because some of his engineering inventions and some of his technology was used for the wrong purposes or got into the wrong hands. So we do know that Torb doesn't like his tech being used for things that he feels aren't their proper purposes. So Torbjorn, in designing this, would probably, in his lore and other story, like in his digital comic that we've seen, would actually want this to be used for the intended purposes. And we can see the Caduceus staff, what look on the right here to be sort of biotic tanks or biotic projectiles of some form, and seeing how they can actually be charged into a rifle to presumably be fired. Very, very cool. We then have a look at Mercy's notes. Now Mercy says, while Torbjorn has ever put forth a very clever design for his latest weapon, I would like to remind everyone that my intention when agreeing to the development of different biotic delivery mechanisms was to save the lives of Overwatch agents and others in need of medical aid. With this latest proposal, it is clear to me that we are on the slippery slope and modifications that will inevitably result in a weaponized version of this technology, something that I've been completely opposed to from the very beginning. We can see Mercy there. Actually, from her lore, we also know that she was at odds with some of the things that Overwatch tried to do and the ways in which they operated. So we can see a warning here from Mercy that she's not really up for this technology being used in this kind of way. Although biotics can heal, what happens if you try and weaponize biotics? It's very interesting to think, instead of firing something at someone, be nanobot technology, nanobiotics of some kind that can heal them, then what happens if you actually weaponize that and fire a nanobiotic projectile or something that can actually hurt them? It'll be interesting to see whether this support sniper has that option, you know, if they have a healing primary and maybe some kind of damaging secondary, maybe some kind of poison, some kind of slow debuff. All of those things could be an option. In lore, it's also interesting to think what would happen if you fired one of these biotic delivery systems into someone who had already been affected in a different way. We do know, for example, that the USA's Soldier Enhancement Program, both Morrison and Reyes were 2 of the first people involved in this, and as a result, they have superhuman abilities in several senses. What would happen if you were firing weaponized or indeed normal biotic technologies into a super soldier? Sorry, we can't say that. We've got to say an enhanced soldier. That would be interesting to think of as well. Another interesting thing to think about is where this rifle could be now. Was it ever developed? We do know, of course, that some Overwatch tech has been stolen. Soldier 76, for example, or Morrison stole his rifle from Watchpoint Grand Mesa. It was under the guard of Helix security at that time. Or do you think that whoever was actually using this rifle in Overwatch could have kept it and could still somehow be using it still? That would be a very interesting prospect if it was an Overwatch agent who somehow managed to hang on to this prototype. And finally, just when you thought it was all wrapped up, a little bombshell drops. So in the Spanish, or apparently the Brazilian version of this that was tweeted, we can actually see from this image that's on Twitter, again, link in the description below. Thank you very much to an eagle-eyed Redditor who spotted this. There's an extra person on the 2 line, and that person is none other than Ana Amari. So Ana Amari linked by many to being Sombra. I'm not going to lie, I've headcanoned that at one point, even though there's nothing conclusively linking Ana Amari to being Sombra. And let's not forget that Farah actually believes in her comic mission statement that her mother is dead. She got her eye tattoo in memory of her mother, so it very much suggests as though she thinks that her mother has passed on. However, if Ana Amari is on the line, Overwatch would certainly want their crack sniper to take a look. Cheers low mana gamers for that one. Let's not forget Ana Amari was one of the original 6 in the original Overwatch strike team. That was Ana Amari, Reinhardt, Torbjorn, Gabriel Reyes, Jack Morrison, and of course Liao. In-game voice lines, it certainly seems as though a lot of the rest of the Overwatch cast believe that Farah's mother is dead. However, is she or is she not? And could she be the wielder of this rifle? If so, she wouldn't be the first person who'd come back from the dead in Overwatch and stolen a weapon from Overwatch. That's all I'm saying. There's no proof, total speculation, but I know that loads of people are going to theorise about that. So what do you think? Is that intentional? Should Ana Amari be in the subject line for any other reason? Let me know. So there we go, some interesting little lore points, little lore snippets and things to be discussed there. Of course, nothing confirmed, there's a little bit of speculation on those last points, but it does very much look as though that the prototype Biotic rifle and all of this is pointing towards a support sniper. What do you think about a support sniper in Overwatch? Are you excited? What kind of abilities do you think they could have? It's also worth noting that there is nothing whatsoever at the moment really tying the name Sombra conclusively to this support sniper, although a lot of people have theorised that. I talked about Sombra and speculated about her a long time ago with what I think was the first share of the voice line, where's Sombra in that when you need her. You can check my videos on Sombra specifically, whether or not she's the support sniper, in the bottom left here, in my top 5 predicted heroes, which was the one a few months ago, and also more on the Sombra protocol and Sombra theories in the bottom right here. Love to hear what you think. Lore Bites, my usual series, will be back tomorrow, so sorry I skipped that to tomorrow for this update. I would love to hear what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, do like, subscribe, comment, let me know what you think about a potential support sniper in Overwatch, and what kind of story you think that this interesting image throws up. Cheers for tuning in. I've been Hammeh, take it easy.